This is your brother Surrealism or Prism back again. Episode 2. We got Eshe, Nhyira. Eshe, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Surreal. Brother Surreal, how are you doing?
All is evolutionary, all is expansive, and I'm gonna balance it out no matter what. How about you?
Same here. That's the only choice at this point.
Man, what's going on this planet? Can you tell me?
A lot of, I always say it's chaos, but in the middle of the chaos, there's a lot of beautiful things that are happening too.
Most definitely. Now, isn't that the most interesting balance of both dimensions or worlds happening on top of each other or intermixing each other? We have what is the positive or the negative intermesh as we define it.
Yes. It's the true yin and yang expressing itself in every way. It's chaos and creativity, chaos and beauty, chaos and love. It's yin and yang. It's like, what side are you going to be on, though?
There we go. Because some say without, chaos, there's no order.
Mm-hmm.
And you said something very key about what side are you going to represent or be on.
Right. Yes. And, I'm thankful to be on this side. I haven't always been on this side, I've been on the side of a little chaos and some confusion, but thankfully at this time in the journey, I'm a lot more stabilized and balanced. And it's really mostly because I work on my mind, stabilizing emotions and keeping the mind, in a balanced state. Being able to control thoughts and not allow the thoughts to control me. So that helps a lot with that chaos, keeping that cut down a lot.
Man, I agree. Can you tell us a little bit more about Eshe, Nhyira? Who is she and who is she becoming?
Oh, wow. Who am I? Well, first of all, I'm a spirit. I'm a spirit here incarnated on planet Earth. I am a mother. That's a big part of my life is being a mother. I have 3 sons. I am an entrepreneur. I have a jewelry business, but I also have other arts that are connected. It's multiple things going on, but I do specialize in healing jewelry, crystals, beads, copper, all types of beautiful things. Part of my purpose is to bring beauty into this world of chaos, to bring peace into this world, and to bring love into this world, because that's something that's really lacking right now. And I think that a lot of people's hearts have been hardened and they have been pulled away from love. But I'm just one being, because there are many, to bring, love back into fruition by first loving myself. I'm very creative. I consider myself to be a very spiritual person. I am what they would say spiritually awakened. It just means that I'm aware of my body, mind, spirit, and aura, all of that, and how it plays a role in the creation process. And, I really love nature. I have people in my family, they call me a hippie. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Probably a little different. I'm probably one of the more different people in my family, because I've chosen a very unorthodox path to live my life, which is a path that is in accordance with, the laws of the universe and the laws of nature, which is one and the same, because everything is connected. And sometimes I think I can be a little bit misunderstood because of, my thoughts and my ideals about the way that the world should be. But ultimately, I'm here to create and here to love and leave my imprint on existence and help to transform, future generations by healing myself. And when I heal myself, I'm healing past trauma. I'm healing my ancestors. I'm healing Mother Earth as I heal myself. And that's, and I just kind of give back in that type of way. And, do my best to be an example, of that. How people say, well, I'm not perfect. And I hate that we have to add that disclaimer in there, but I really do strive to do my best with an open heart. That's who I am.
Most definite. Now, can I ask you this? You mentioned being misunderstood. Could you expound on that a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I going through my spiritual awakening, that really opened up my eyes to a lot. And I realized that a lot of the things that I used to put my trust in, the different systems, like the medical system, the school system, all of the different systems that was given to me, I had accepted that as being true and real. And then as I continued to evolve on my spiritual journey, a lot was revealed to me. My eyes were open, all three eyes were open, and I actually was able to see that there was a lot of corruption and a lot of bloodshed for these systems to be. A lot of our people globally were murdered just for these systems that rule over us to take place. And once I found out about that, I pulled away. And when you pull away from everyone else that's doing that, they're on that, and you pull away, you really are kind of the outcast. And I know that a lot of spiritually awakened people, they go through that. They all say, I'm the one in my family, nobody understands me. When I say, hey, I don't want to go vote because I'm not going to vote for a devil or a demon, why would I vote somebody into an office to help to rule over me? No, I have to learn how to govern myself. We have to learn how to govern ourselves. So when I say things like we should govern ourselves, we should heal ourselves, we should do all of these things, a lot of people are very resistant to that because I feel like it just kind of shakes their world up a bit, makes them feel very uncomfortable because it's hard to pull away from something that you have done your whole life and your family has participated in, and it just keeps going back. And then when you're the one that's like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, it can be very painful because family and even friends could shun you or think that you're crazy. A lot of people say, everybody thinks that I'm crazy and all these things, but it's a part of pulling away. When you pull away, it's just like anything that pulls away. There's going to be a tear. It's going to be a rip. It's going to be some pain when you're trying to, or you're working towards being this new evolved person. Say, hey, I don't want to do stuff I used to do. I don't want to talk the way I used to talk. I don't want to go to the places that I used to go to. And that can be very, misunderstanding. And it's very difficult on the spiritual journey. It can be really, really difficult because you feel very isolated. But, when you hang in there, you really hang in there and you find a support group of people like your soul tribe, not necessarily your blood family, but your soul tribe, that you just feel really comfortable with. They encourage you. They help you to be better. They encourage you to be your best self. That helps to ease that pain of separation from that old life. Mm-hmm.
Eshe, you always give some of the greatest responses. I definitely enjoy how in depth you break down what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what flows, what doesn't flow, but how it all balances. Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this. I know we had touched on in the last episode a little bit towards the end about, how is love defined on this planet and expressed, within ourselves, let alone within relationships or any sort of spiritual marriage or within a family in general. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, love. I feel like as far as love is concerned, it's very skewed. It's been very skewed for a long time, just like everything else. So we have to revamp love. We have to find out what love is. And of course, the best way to find out what love is to love thyself. We've always, just been taught to look for the love outside of ourselves. And when we've done that, and we've all done that, it causes us a lot of problems, and it's a lot of issues with that. There's been a lot of babies that have been born from situations that are not rooted in holistic love, but more so coming from a place of carnal, root chakra, lower level energy that we said it was love, but it really wasn't love. It was just a feeling, but that's not really what love is. So, I personally had to go on a journey just to learn how to love myself. I was so busy, and I said this in my last video, I was so busy out there saying, hey, love me, love me, love me. But I had to love me. Like I had to do that. So I feel like once we as brothers and sisters, once we learn how to really love ourselves, and I mean love every part of ourselves, even our scars, like the good, the bad, the ugly, the dirty, whatever it is that has happened, to be able to hold those parts of ourselves and say, hey, I love you, the self, regardless, and we're going to move forward. And then you start to strip off those old layers of yourself in love. You know, we do, when we're going through a purging process, sometimes we can, instead of doing it in a loving way, we do it very judging ourselves. We judge ourselves to get to love. And maybe that's a part of the releasing process as well. But you definitely have to love, you know, every part of yourself, your mind, body, spirit, aura, and then get rid of all of that old stuff from the past, all the programming from the past. Then it's good to proceed to move towards building with someone else that has gone through the same process or is going through that process. Because wounded people, when they come together, it just creates more chaos, and it keeps that old cycle going. And we're at a point now in our consciousness and our evolution where we just can't do any of that old stuff anymore. Like, we have to do something totally different. We have to pull from our ancestors, because they did things very structured, and it was a balance. It was like everyone knew what they were supposed to do, and they did it, and they didn't complain. You know, they did it, and because they knew what family was. And we've gotten so far away from that because of separatist mentality and living in European culture, and which is not. It's not about our type of unity that we come from. So we have to kind of get back to that. But ultimately, I always think about that when I said we have to come together, we have to be unified, we have to love each other. It just all starts with ourselves. You know, it all comes back to, are you devoted and unified inside of yourself? Do you love every part of yourself? And if those answers come back saying no, I think we need to do a little bit more work. But then once we do the work, and then once we are presented, you know, if it's a brother, he's presented with his, you know, goddess or queen or whatever term he wants to call his feminine, divine feminine. And then same thing with the feminine, once she becomes divine, because it's a process of becoming divine in this physical realm. I feel like spiritually we're already divine, but this bodysuit, we just have to go through certain transformations. So we join with our divine masculine, and then, you know, then the fun starts, then the good stuff starts, then the building starts, then the unification starts. Then we can start changing future generations and build the legacies and all of that. But I think it's better when we do it together. To healed, whole beings come together, and it's so beautiful, you know. And we need more of that. I will say, you know, I do feel that we are getting there, and we are a lot closer, because people are realizing that it's beautiful to be in a healthy, holistic relationship, not in a controlling relationship, not in, you know, domineering, or, you know, a man being in a relationship with the woman that's always, you know, popping off at the mouth and, you know, always just like creating more chaos, you know. And that we just have to let all of that go and get back to the simpleness of the essence of love, you know. So that was a long answer about that.
No, I appreciate it, because you touched on so many points, and I mean strong points, that you can build, you know, a whole, I'm gonna say, book from it. You really get into the layers of those levels. One thing I would like to add to it, and if we can hover here in this space for a minute, is that, you know, it's one thing in my, always like to say, in my humble evolutionary opinion, when we are, let's say, working on self, we're healing, and we're coming to the mental connectivity of what should work or what feels right that it should work. And then there's always the application dimension of it. And as you mentioned, what all of us being on a planet in a state of, you know, hurt, or we all carry so many wounds and scars and traumas, you know, connected with dramas, you know, it gets interesting for those of us who have started to do the work or awaken. And then what I've come to learn, the greatest challenge is now demonstrate.
Yes.
Because it's like, well, you're saying, you see how the relationship should be, right? You're saying that the roles should be like this, and it should be, for my thing is it's a coexistence, it's co-leadership. But at the same time, we have to have a co-understanding and overstanding that is what we both want. Which means it might be 90% you one day, and I'm 10% that day, and then it flips to 90% me the next day and 10%. That doesn't mean I'm not giving 100+ effort. It just means your decision making may be more stronger or needed within a particular situation, and vice versa. And spending some time there, that's been kind of my evolutionary expansive challenge now, is demonstrating the things that I say I know and I come to understand. What have you come to learn in this process that you've now come to understand more? Where are you at now that you were, let's say, prior to a couple years ago?
That's a really good question. And I did want to touch on just the relationship piece back and forth, because I've grown a lot in those areas, like a lot. And how you said, one day you might be doing a little bit more than the sister. She might be, but it goes back and forth. It's yin and yang. We're on a team. Pass me the ball. I'm gonna pass the ball back to you. And that's how we win together. Not like competing. We don't have to compete against each other at all. It should be totally supportive. It should be supportive. And that doesn't mean that there won't be moments where disagreements happen, or, maybe one person doesn't really care for what the other person is saying. But even in that conflict, let's say it's a conflict between two people, being able to talk about it, like, we don't have to abuse each other. That's one thing that I've learned over the years. If someone makes me mad, I don't have to cuss them out. Why would I do that? Why would I degrade them with, especially my partner that I say that I love? Why would I degrade him with my words? Because I can come up with some real quick, witty thoughts to get him back, to make him feel how he made me feel. It's like, I really don't want any parts of that. That's one thing that I've learned about, relationships, being able to listen and take instructions without feeling like my power is being taken away. Feeling like, if, like, let's say my man is telling me something, that doesn't mean he's trying to control me. He's probably sharing something with me for the betterment of my existence. And let's say he might do it with a strong tone, or be real serious, because men, kings can be very serious when they want stuff to get done. They want it done. We're more kind of emotional and a little bit softer. So, but just because he may come with a certain type of energy, that doesn't mean that he's mad or something like that. That just means that maybe I am being a bit sensitive. That's something that I've learned over the years. So I used to be very sensitive, and I was very touchy, and I took everything personal, and I'm still learning. Even now, stuff might shake me a little bit, and I do have to remember, hey, don't take it personal, because what can I learn from this experience? And as far as like the practical application learning, because I remember early on in my journey, reading a lot of books, watching a lot of videos, always talking about the problems that are happening. But when it came down to but are you living? I had to ask myself a lot, like, Eshe, okay, but are you really living these principles? Are you doing this stuff consistently? And that's where the whole practical application, comes in. We have to live it, not just talk it. And if we're not living it, maybe we shouldn't talk it as much. And we need to, go back into into our space and work on ourselves and, come back forth. And I've had to do that before. I have had to get real with myself and say, hey, before I go out here and start teaching and, sharing and things like that, maybe I need to work on myself. And so there have been periods where I kind of will disappear. I'll stop posting altogether, because it almost feels like when you are preaching and giving of yourself, but you're not living, you're being fraudulent. And if you have a conscience, your conscience won't let you do that. It'll say, hey, you need to step your game up. So I've learned to make alterations and changes as needed, do my best to be patient with myself on this journey, because it's always shifting and changing, and we're always learning something. We're always bombarded with information. But at this point, I do my best to keep my mind stable, and I will question myself a lot. I'll say, is this real? Because these thoughts come in all the time. It's all kinds of thoughts all the time, constantly. And so I ask myself, especially if it makes me feel uncomfortable, it makes me feel fearful or, paranoid or something like that. I'm like, wait a minute, is this even real? Being the observer, is this thought real? And I said, oh no, that thought's not real. Or is this from my past? Is this a past trigger coming up for me? Okay, I think that's a trigger. That's really a trigger from my childhood, even though I'm feeling something right now. So I need to look at that a little bit deeper and then let it go. That's kind of where I am right now. It's really a beautiful place to be in, to not hold on to everything. Like, I don't have to hold these bags. Like, why? Like, I don't have to do that anymore, because I'm at this beautiful state of knowing. But it's things that I have to do to be able to keep that channel open. It's like, literally, when I'm in a high vibration, the crown chakra is activated, the third eye. All the chakras are activated, the heart is activated, and I'm able to get those channeled messages in that say, do this, do that, don't respond like that, take care of yourself in this way, eat this proper food, drink this water, do that. And I'm enlightened, filled with light. But when we're not taking care of ourselves and not doing that, stuff is a little staticky. And that's when those other lower level thoughts can easily creep in. So I'm like, always, from before, I couldn't really tame my mind. My mind was kicking my butt, but now I'm in a place where I really can say, wait a minute, that ain't, that's not what we want to do right now. We want to keep it positive and focus on, and when I say we, I'm speaking of all of my selves, because there are different parts of ourselves. So if somebody's like, wait a minute, but it's different parts of our being, but we keeping all of that, in balance, and realizing what's an illusion and what's really truth. So, yeah.
Well, I always appreciate the context in which you deliver and connect the pieces. There's several things that you shared that jumped into my mind. One of those was, in regards to the teaching aspect and speaking, and how we can be hard on ourselves. And I know judging people give it a bad context, but to me, I look at judgment or judging based on your intention. It can be from a balanced place or a final order or decision. You have to, for me, judgment is final. It's a decision. It's final. It's been processed. You've looked at, the pros and cons. But I guess in how we add unbalanced attitude towards it, it becomes judging, or I'm judgmental. But,
Yes.
Attitude is everything, and how you, in my understanding of it, and how you direct it, like your direct intention and how you spoke it has a certain impact. When you say judgment or judgmental, and the point I was trying to connect to what you were sharing was, we can be very hard on ourselves, but the calling or the spiritual development of us is asking, like, hey, it's time for you to test this. It's time for you to start speaking this. Stay open, stay balanced. Yes, you're going to make your mistakes along the way, but this is part of your mission and calling, and what your voice and what your soul development must do. Mm-hmm. And in experiencing that, it's intense, because again, it's taken me years to really become, and I'm still creeping out of my spiritual turtle shell with being more open.
Right.
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a cocoon. Was it either today or yesterday? I was saying, it's time for me to come out the cocoon. It's like, well, you've been on this journey for like almost 9 years and I'm still coming out of the cocoon. That just goes to show it's so many layers. It's so many layers. And the thing is, in 5 years from now, you know, if I'm still here in this realm, I'm gonna probably still be evolving and taking off. Just like, you know, the snake is coming out of its skin. We shed, and we shed, and then we continue to grow and we continue to evolve and we continue to move forward. So it is, I do feel totally new right now. I feel like a new being at this point. And that just happened recently because I've been working on myself. I'm like, you know, I'm going to take care of myself. Started, you know, really exercising consistently, eating lots of, you know, healthy foods. And the more and more I do that, the more and more I'm ready to come out of the shadows now. Because I kind of was all through the winter, you know, once in the cold months, you know, I was doing little stuff here and there. But I did find myself feeling very isolated and like, you know, I don't want to post on social media. You know, I was doing like clubhouse talks that were going very well, but then I stopped doing that. You know, it was just a lot of things. And I felt like I needed to go into a place of solitude so that I could heal. And that's what I did. And, you know, it was some things that was going on with me physically. But I was like, all right, this is what I know I need to do. Clearly, it's no excuses. I got to get my life together. What am I eating? What am I drinking? What am I, you know, am I sitting around too much? Yeah. If we're doing that, we're going to feel depressed and feel heavy and feel lowly and, you know, all of this stuff. So I had to get moving. And now I swear I feel reborn and I'm coming, you know, it's like I'm coming back. I'm like, okay, Eshe's back now, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, but I went months really kind of in the shadows. I felt I was, and just feeling real, you know, isolated. But springtime is here, and the interesting thing is my birthday is on the first day, you know, of spring, so that always gives me like a nice jolt to get it. You know, if I was kind of off track in those cold months, it's time to come back like the flowers. You know, it's time for me, Eshe, to bloom. And man, it feels so good. It feels so good. Yeah, but it's a journey. It's an ongoing journey of shedding and releasing.
Most definite. And again, you touched on many, many key points that have many layers and levels connected to it. And one of the things I would say that jumped out at me was having to withdraw or pull back or go spiritually within and disappear. I mean, I do it all the time, especially with this process and being more open and public and giving more of just my essence and my evolution. You know, I have to balance that with, you know, whatever else comes in me creatively outside of the continuous healing and recognition of things. And then you have other new decisions and choices one has to make in their life, whether you're going to, you know, stay in a certain place or, you know, have to move or sell, whatever it may be, you have to sell or let go of. And, you know, how am I going to maximize this experience? And what I've come to learn, which I say more importantly, well, I'm going to say one of the more important keys or golden spiritual or crystal keys, which is time. How we define time. So if time equals art, what are you painting? What are you creating?
Exactly.
What value does it have in your life? What meaning and purpose does it connect or disconnect from? And in saying that, it's been evolutionary, and say that, you know, there are many things that, you know, tough decisions have to get made.
Yes.
There's always somebody's feelings hurt, somebody's upset, somebody's mad.
You're right.
And it's like, well, wait a minute. If this was a reverse situation, I guarantee you wouldn't even maybe think 2 or 3 cents of how I feel. You know, you may loosely glance at it, but I can't be mad or knock someone going after their happiness and however they have to defend it, or however they experience their essence or their expansion of how they want to connect to what love means to them. I can't be mad. People are going to move on. Things are going to go forward. All I can do is continue my process, because I realize at the end of the day, everybody's going to live the way they want to live, and they're going to define themselves in a way that is relative to their evolution or not. Any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. A lot of times late, because I used to want to save the world, and I wanted to save everybody, and I want everybody to know what I know. I'm like, they have to know this information. I don't do that anymore at all.
Yeah.
Unless someone comes to me and they say, I get a lot of people that come to me, and it's such a beautiful blessing for me for someone to say, hey, you were the only one that I could talk to about this. I thought about you. And I'm like, oh, that's great. That they felt comfortable enough to tell me the deep, deep, deep stuff, but we have to allow people to have their own process. So I say now, that's not my problem. Whatever folks got going on, that's for them to worry. I got enough to worry about. I got enough, working on me, keeping my mind balanced and taking care of my body. I'm being a mother, being an entrepreneur, being a friend. I'm in a beautiful relationship. So it's like I'm putting all of my energy out here. So all that other stuff, the people stuff, I'm like, hey, really, if you're not trying to fix the issue, like if someone really came to me and said, hey, I have this issue, I'm bringing it to you, can you help me come up with a solution, or can you help me do this? Yes, I will help. But any of that other extra stuff, I don't want no parts of it. Because I was listening to Reverend Ike, he was just talking about the mind's eye, and he was speaking about how to do visualization to get what you want, but you visualize through your third eye what you want to magnetize it. So, but one thing that he was explaining was a lot of these different stimuli that we deal with, whether it's through people or people, places, things, thoughts, all of this stuff. He says each individual or each thing has its own purpose. It has its own, he says, I think it's the word apparendum. It has its own apparatus, its own thing. So we a lot of times want to try to take on all of this other stuff that don't have nothing to do with us. But we picking up everybody else's baggage. Like, nah, those days are kind of over. I used to be a major people pleaser, and even now I evaluate myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, am I still being a people pleaser? Because every now and then some things will, pop up, and I have to evaluate where I'm coming from, like within my own stuff. Like, wait a minute, is this some of my old programming coming through? And we have to do that. We should do that. We should do a lot of introspection, but definitely taking on other people's like stuff. People have to go on their own journey. Like I had to go through my own stuff to get here. I had to fast. I had to, go without. I had to lose all material possessions to wake up. Like I had to go through that. So, and other people, I know we wanna throw life preservers out to family and friends, and we toss some nuggets here and do this stuff because we want, when we think about like tribe and family, we want to include our like blood relatives and things like that in the tribe. And it can be really sad when they don't, want to come along, but that's just because they have to go through their process, just like we had to go through our process. And I think the sooner that we find peace in that, I think the better off that we will be. Because we can't save nobody but ourselves. And I'm tired. Actually, I'm quite exhausted trying, being like that old way. You don't get, some sort of recognition or an award for driving yourself into the ground because you're trying so hard to pull people or to get them to understand, or just to even try to, I don't want to say support everybody, because we are supposed to be here of service and of support to our brothers and sisters, but with boundaries. Because if we don't have boundaries, we just end up getting burned out and our energy is depleted. And if you're a healer, you don't feel like a healer no more because everybody has sucked all of your energy out of you. Vampire spirits have come in, and manipulators and all these types of folks. And we be, I don't want no parts of that. But it's a part of the journey getting here. You got to get there, that understanding that we don't have to take that on. We are responsible for ourselves. Yeah.
It's that, as you know, and I'm pretty sure you would agree, a whole lot more when you really want to master the layers that connect to those levels. Because we're always, whether we agree or not, and for those of us who are more self-aware, I know even for myself, there's a certain aspect of striving for, let's say, perfection. Now, whether I fully meet that in third dimension is always a question.
Mm-hmm.
But spiritually, I'm striving for, and let me define my relativity to perfection: all knowing, all aware, but humble and balanced enough to apply it when need be, or to hold it when I have to be, but definitely wanting to walk into the over of fullness or the abundance of what's coming out of me, what I'm learning to express and live by. And in saying that, you had touched on something a little earlier, in regards to, let's just say, I'm gonna use this term, the blended family dynamic. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on that in regards to your evolution, or in general, in a blended family? Let's say he got children, you got children. Oh, yeah. How do you come under one roof, and is it even possible? At a certain point, because you start doubting it. Not to cut you off, apologize. Oh, no. But we start to doubt. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do this, and this looks like a lot. And my thing is, are we looking at it from wanting perfection and going into it? Mm-hmm. Just because you can now dot the I and cross the T.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts?
Well, blended family. So I haven't fully integrated that just yet, but that is the goal, is to bring it all together. That is what I want in my heart. Do I think that it's possible? Absolutely. I'm going to say yes until something says that it's not going to go that way. So for me, yes, it's going to go that way. Do I think that it's challenging? Absolutely, it's going to be challenging because, bringing two. The masculine and the feminine, they love each other. They're like, yes, let's do this. But you have these other, children, maybe of different ages. You might have teenagers, and so let's say for me. So I have a 13-year-old son, and women might have teenage boys that, maybe they don't want to hear nobody, no man. Maybe they never had a dad around, no man. So when this man comes around telling them this is what it's going to be, they don't like that too much. So that's going to be an issue. And they're going to run to the mom like, Mom, you let him talk to me like that? So what is mom going to do at that point? But I feel like the mother and the father that are coming together, they have to be on the same page, because the children, I feel, can easily manipulate the situation, or, they can feel pulled, because we're going to have loyalty to our children. We gave birth to these children, and they were trying to move and, have a relationship with someone else. And it is definitely challenging. And we're not even talking about the other parent, the mothers and the fathers that are on the outside. How does that play a role in everything? Because what if they are still present, and like I'm the new person? How does that work? How is my relationship with the mother of the children? How is his relationship with the father of my children? Like all of that has to be dealt with. And I think a lot of times in the Black community, or melanated community, because sometimes people, they say don't say Black and all this stuff, but the melanated community, people don't want to build relationships. They're like, oh, you've moved on, I don't want nothing to do with your person. But they should, so that we can really work together. It's so hard, because just in our community alone, it's so hard just to work together. But I know that we can do this. We just have to have a lot of healing going on in order to even be in the mind state to think about how do we do these things, and do it properly, do it what's going to be the best for the children. And but in these blended families, let's say for instance, a single mom, I'm a single mom, but a single mother, she, ends up with the man, and her children, are acting a certain type of way. I don't think that she should, like reprimand her man, in front of the children, I don't really care for things like that. I think that they should be able to discuss issues behind closed doors, keep it united, and keep it as a teamwork effort when rearing these children. But yeah, do I think it's possible? I think it is definitely going to be very challenging, but we can do it. I definitely look forward to that, because I do feel that it's important for families to come together. If the original mother and father cannot work out, I think that they should move on to be with someone, because we should have the masculine and the feminine in the home to help to rear these children. It's really important. When there's just one parent, it's so hard. It is so hard, because then the woman has to become extremely masculine to deal with the children, especially if she has boys. And the man, let's say it's a single dad, the child needs a certain level of nurturing that sometimes men can't provide. It's like a man, it's really hard for him to provide a certain level of nurturing that a woman can. It's just these are different roles, but they work together in unison when it's holistic and proper. So, but I think it's really important though for us to come together with the proper person and raise families. It's important.
You're right. And in asking that question, I feel, and I know that comes up, well, let me be clear with my words. In asking that question, I know a lot of us, in my spiritual, humble opinion, can struggle with just that process. I think about just how I had to grow up with sort of a blended family. It wasn't 100% because, let's just say my stepdad had a son from a previous marriage, and then it was me and my little brother. I didn't really realize till about maybe I might have been 4 or 5 that we had different fathers, and that was life altering to me, because I was used to calling his dad, which I do to this day, but our relationship is way different over the years because of challenges and things that he had to deal with that affected his relationship with my mom and my little brother, and ultimately me as well. And because which he's admitted, made a lot of mistakes and lost a lot of time in me and my little brother's life, it was intense, and then I think about when my mom got married eventually. My dad came in, and in all honesty, and he knows it to this day, because we've talked about it during the moments when we had some discussions. I didn't like him. I had a lot of hatred towards him, in all honesty.
Right. I
didn't. He was too old-fashioned in a way that wasn't hip to me growing up in South Central LA in the at this point late 80s, early 90s. He wasn't, it was a lot I was facing that both of my parents, I feel, couldn't relate to. Mom's a country girl from New Orleans, Louisiana. She, in a city with me. I'm dealing with I'm dealing with things that she had never seen and heard about, let alone, her husband was a very intelligent man, but there were a lot of things missing.
Right.
And, they got over 30 years married. And from what I've seen, it's been a challenge. They've come from a different school. They know how it is to struggle, to have. But in a sense, where they are is where they are. And I do my best to just, like I say, I'm part of the almost middle 40 club. I what I'm saying? Middle age and all that. If we're going to represent it, I represent it to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? But the quick point I was trying to make is that it's been difficult, and I don't know. A lot of things they've had to internalize and deal with, or maybe behind closed doors. I don't know how they have expressed it, but I know I've been always a student of people, and especially who I may define as parents, and I've analyzed it. And there were a lot of things I feel missing that I think even they would agree to, but it's not easy to say, well, I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a lot of mistakes. My bad. I affected the boys this way. My bad, and I did the best I could, because like I said, my stepdad worked a lot.
Yeah.
He worked a lot. My mom worked a lot. So, by the time he came in my life, I don't know, I might have been like 8 or 9, 10 when they might have got married or something, if I remember correct.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Dad, I already got somebody I call that. It was rough, and maybe at a later episode, I'll share some context, but your thoughts on anything else you want to say about the blending family dynamic? Because, you mentioned the honesty that it is a challenge, and I guess the hybrid statement I'm going to make, imagine wanting to do something that you've never seen done, as we may say, proper or in balance, but it's right to do.
Yes.
Both people are willing, but there's so many forces. I mean, you got to deal with the economic game constantly shifting. You got the young children or young teenagers becoming young adults. And then you got another split of who's this man wanting time with mom. They in the room, don't want to come out the room, or whatever it is they want to do. They want to sleep late. Mom ain't making breakfast as early as she used to. Maybe she is. Maybe she's making it a little bit different because he likes a different taste of seasoning. Yeah. And these young adults, they're like, in my humble opinion, it's like, well, wait a minute. Mom has a right to be happy the same way dad does, or even if you don't want to call him new dad, or however you want to look at, the new quote unquote spiritual man of the house. But there has to be some basic, I'm going to say, respect or acknowledgement. But to say all that, and I'm going to come back to your question.
Okay.
What I was trying to state was that it takes a lot of time. Mm-hmm. In order to master this, or at least make it healthy, it takes time. You have to have time to sit with, if you got girls or if you got boys, let alone whoever your mate is. And when are we going to talk about, well, my son is mad because you said it like that, or my daughter is mad because you said it like that. Imagine having to live creative to make that important, because we both know when you start to think out of third dimension, you're no longer locked in to the schedule. We flow with it, we use it, but your mind has escaped into, well, you mean planets and stars and galaxies and cosmos, and I'm higher dimensional being in my spirit and soul and ancestors, and the esoteric and the etheric and the ancient and the archangels, and you going into my spirit guides, and I got the beads in my stones, and there's crystals do this, and I'm a crystallized, imagine you going into all these areas, and then imagine having to deal with, your son or your daughter is looking like,
you lost their mind. And it's 2 of them now that's on that crystal stuff. What in the world? What is mom thinking about? Yes.
Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell. I do feel like this is gonna be one of the biggest challenges, bringing this together. Is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it. Anything that's worth it, because we're breaking free from. We are working to take these children and break free to create a whole new world, a whole new reality. So, man, talk about tough. Yes, it's tough. It is very tough. But we got to just be so solid with our plan and dedicated to our oath that we are going to work this out. We're going to make it work, no matter what, as long as, anybody doing nothing too, crazy and shady. We are going to make this work, and we are not going to be quitters, and we are not going to give up on each other or this process, and we're not going to give up on the children, and stay united and stay in, as much as possible in an optimal state of health, so that we can be strong enough to even deal, because stress can easily make you, hop into bad habits. And imagine you have a blended family. Maybe the children aren't getting along, or maybe your stepson or daughter, they don't like you. So you might be like, I need a drink, just to ease my mind. And then next thing you know, you've slipped into a habit because you're trying to escape. And now you've got cracks in your armor for the enemy to slip through. So it's like, we got to be so careful in this process, but be steadfast. If that's what we want to do, we have to be steadfast to the process and not be quitters when it gets hard, because it's going to get hard. It's already hard enough, but I just feel like if it's worth it enough to someone in that position, myself, is it worth it enough for me? Then, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do and realize it's gonna be hard, realize that there may be, even as we've grown and we have purged a lot, triggers may be hit in that type of environment that may bring up something from the past that we thought we were good on, and then we have to deal with that, or feeling emotional, or it's just so many different things. Feelings of anger in the family because somebody disrespected you and you want to lash out, and the best thing is to stay as calm as possible. And it's really hard. Sometimes I am not great at that as much as, a lot of people always, they say that I'm, I just seem really, kind of kind, and I have a soft voice and all of that. But even me, I can turn up when I'm pushed. I don't like to do that because that's when my masculine energy has to come forward to deal with certain situations. But ultimately, I want to be loving, and nurturing. But the chaos can bring that out. But I think that we can do this blended family. I am striving for that. That's one of my largest goals for my life, because I'm not meant to be alone. I am not meant to raise children. I don't care what nobody say. That's not for me. That's not my story. I am meant to be with my divine masculine, and we, make this thing happen. So I'm not going to quit on it.
Oh, most definitely. And if you don't mind, if we can hover just 8 more minutes in this area, and then we're approaching almost an hour, and then we're shifting to some other aspects of Eshe, Nhyira.
Yeah.
You heard?
All right.
I'm talking about Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. This ain't no soul glow now, and I ain't spraying my Jerry curl.
Your Jerry curl juice on, okay?
You know what I'm saying? This is some of that sage smudge spray. Now, I used to rock a little bit of that curl, though. Don't think I won't activate it up. That Hawaiian silky, baby. That's a long time ago. But that Hawaiian silky, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're talking about.
Come on, that S curl, that activator.
Mm-hmm.
But we're on a different activation, and we're on a different curl. Is that cosmic spiral? You
heard? For sure. Yes.
And then knocking out these next 8 minutes in this area before we move into more of the Nhyira. Man, this blended family thing, again, what I've come to learn, and I'm still learning. And the reason why I'm hovering here is that so many of us, I was going to say too, have children. Some of us got children. Mm-hmm. And we want love, right?
Oh yeah.
And we want family, right? And then we want this new awakening, evolutionary, esoteric blend. Yeah, we all gonna be just crystallized and eternalized, and we're gonna be just expanding, and we're gonna be just a magnetic force. And I'm with it all day, every day. But what I come to understand is that, like you said, it gets real in the kitchen. It gets hot.
It does.
And the choices can get tough, especially when you start to deal with young people who are now closer to 18 or over 18. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking like, well, wait a minute now. You trying to tell me like you have how you gonna tell me what to do?
Oh yeah.
And you ain't barely or not at all putting it in the pot. Mm-hmm. And even if you were, it's still whose castle or spiritual shell you running in. Mm-hmm. So in saying that, it's just those are the moments I come to understand and still learning and how to address it. Because I know with me, when I got hot in the kitchen, as in rebellious, with my mom, as a teenager, mid-teen, definitely as a mid-teen, I was off the chain. I was starting to calm down as a little later teen because I had went through some, school of hard knocks and you know what
Right.
I'm saying, was out there in the streets and saw how real deal it is, and
Mm-hmm.
did a little time. Brother did 2 years as a juvenile, or a mid-teen, and being shot, and doing some real dumb stuff, thinking it's love, and and thinking he was gonna have a career in this.
Right.
And I'm saying it humbly and lovingly, but also honestly. And I guess to tie into the point, I was just trying to say that when I got about 19, well, really, yeah, I was about 19. Mom's was like, "You gotta go. You beefing with my husband. You trying to break us up.
Yes.
You gotta go. I don't care. You ain't figured it. You didn't ran away already at 15. What do you mean you don't? You talking like you about that life?" And I was speaking like that. And now looking back, I mean, I've been out since 19. Now I had to do a couple pit stops, around my 30s and late 30s into 40, but I'm out. But in all that said, that time from 19 was real. I mean, she was like, and then look, not even 6 months after that, next thing I know, I got a baby on the way.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? My old daughter gonna be 24 in June. So, in saying that, any other thoughts you have, if you don't mind sharing another couple minutes on this, and then we'll move into more of the creative expansion of Eshe Nhyira.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And I have a son. I had a son at a very young age too. He's going to be 24 in October. And it's like, wow, it's mind blowing. It's been a long time. So, but yeah, I mean, all of these things are real, like you were saying, like the mother wants love. Imagine moms, they just give and give and give and give. They don't get that replenishment back. So once they find their king, they're like, oh, wait, ain't nobody getting the way it is. No, not even the children. Y'all are not removing my love, because a lot of women have had broken relationships and left behind, neglected, raising babies on their own. And when they find that good thing, no, you're not gonna come up in here and try to get in the way of this, because it's really difficult nowadays to come by a stable person, someone that's really rooted in themselves, and that's the whole nother thing of being able to get with someone that's rooted and knowing what to look for. And but it all goes back to the self, because I do feel like the self, you attract kind of what you are in your heart, you attract that. So but anyway, it's hard, with these children. And I do feel like this generation now, the teenagers, like they're very entitled, extremely entitled. I feel like, and I look back at myself, I said, did I act like that? Like, I didn't have enough nerve to test my parents in certain ways. Like, I felt like I was pretty respectful. I would do certain things here and there, but I wasn't like verbally disrespectful to my parents or anything. But I find that the children now, they just say whatever they're going to say out of their mouth. And I'm like, you really don't know anything to be talking all of this stuff that you're talking. Like, what you're doing is really dangerous. But they know everything. They know everything. And they don't want to be told anything. They don't want to have to get instructions, so now, like, we are parents that are aware of breathing, meditation, and these types of things. So we try, I may try to talk to my 13-year-old and tell him, hey, you're angry right now, so let's breathe or let's give him some techniques to calm himself down. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to do it. You don't know what my life is like in middle school, and I'm going through stuff that you didn't have to go through. I'm like, I went through a lot of stuff too, They have technology. We really didn't have technology. But I just feel like they're very entitled, and a lot of them are very disrespectful. But I also have to look at their programming, what they were programmed with, And those of us that were teenage parents, we were really too young to know how to be parents. So we were trying to find ourselves. So we maybe didn't pour into our children the proper way because nobody poured into us. It's just that generational cycle. And so what we see today is a product, of us. And I find sometimes that it is a little uncomfortable for me, because I look at certain qualities in, my child, and I'll say, I probably wasn't there the way that I should have been for him, because I was too busy focused on getting my mind right and drama and things like that. And that's hard to deal with. But even though it's hard to deal with, let's move forward, and find the solution where we are now.
I definitely agree. And, what I've come to understand is just for us to apologize as parents and say, look, my bad, I made a mistake. You got to understand this process. You think it's deep for you at, let's say, 10 or 13 or 16 or 22 or 24. Imagine how it was for me. And I'm talking to you in a way that I wasn't talked to. There was things I just couldn't have discussions about.
Mm-hmm.
Moms was like, look, I got to go to work. I ain't got time. You look, like.
Right. Cut it.
You cut it. And when we ask questions, at least within my, the parenting I had, you talking back. You asking me about what I'm saying to you, mother? It's like they want to fly extension cords and belts.
Yes.
And switches. And imagine being a young child and you're like, yo, I'm this expansive, crystallized soul, or I'm a whatever type of, spiritual energy you are, and your parent is like, look, you don't sit down, stop talking that stuff,
clean that room, wash the dishes, do your homework, and that's it.
And that's it. And if you're lucky, if I give you some TV time, and and I remember when Nintendo came about, that was just the greatest pacifier ever. When Nintendo came, it was like, oh my God. Now some people can go back to something called Intellivision. And it's something else called Atari.
Oh, yeah.
Atari came out a little bit before Nintendo. I think Intellivision came out either before Atari or around that time. But we're talking maybe mid-'80s, early to mid-'80s now. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I eventually got a Nintendo, it was over. But that became the greatest pacifier, because I was like, you ain't got to worry about me. I won't be in your face. Me and my little brother Nintendo all day. We trying to get the greatest score, high score. But with all that said, we've now moved into an hour. And if you don't mind, and moving into the next segue, man, I'm still trying to transition my thoughts off of that into these other questions I have for you before you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna make my statement real quick,
sure.
and just to finish my thought to make it clean and clear. As I was sharing that, as we both know, it's just different for us to share where we are with our children, what's happening with us, the mistakes we made, mm-hmm. and how we're doing the best we can. But what I realize is that every soul, if we go with this narrative, pick and chosen its experiences, its family, and you can't tell that to the 10 or the 13-year-old, the 16-year-old, and maybe even the 22 or the 24. But ultimately, I know the type of soul I am. At a certain point, 18 and you about that life, well, I want you to see if you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Because in certain countries and continents, they get married at 15, 14, 16, maybe, depends on how the rites of passage is set up. Mm-hmm. So I know we're stagnated and blocked and things are out of order here. But with all that said, any last statements you have, and I'm gonna say last statements as in within this particular part of the episode, but we will definitely continue with you in a part 3, but I want to get into more Eshe, Nhyira, and definitely get into your website and things. Anything you want to say within this last part where we left off with blended families and healing children and explaining to them and sharing and talking.
Man,
come on now.
It's a lot. I'm gonna say just words of advice, and I'm giving it to myself, is to stay calm. Because we want to combat these things with, more verbal lashing, back and forth. But I realize that's not going to work. So we have to have other approaches to be able to communicate with these little people. Because I'm telling you, they're very cunning too. I find that they I don't know what it is about this age group, and are they considered as Generation X or Z? I can't remember what they are, but
Generation Y and Zers or something like that.
But they on some different stuff. They are.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I have other friends that have children around my same age, and they're going through some of the same stuff that I'm going through. Disrespectful. They don't, the children don't want to do anything. They don't. But a lot of this comes from us not providing structure for them, a structured environment for them. And a lot of times the fathers have not been around to help to instill certain values, and the ball gets dropped. A mother that has to work all the time. She's a single mom. She, just like, you were talking about your mom and, my parents, they were together. They're still married, but they were gone a lot because they had to work. They won't hear. We kind of, in a lot of ways, raised ourselves. And I had to learn a lot from trial and error. Like, oh, I don't know how to do this, so let me go test it out, and jack it all up, mess it all up. But I had to find out the hard way because I didn't have, someone really sitting down with me saying, hey, do this, do this, do that. So now we're doing that. We're in that position saying, okay, I remember what I needed when I was a child. I remember what my mom and dad didn't give me, so I'm going to try to give it to these children. And the children are looking at us like, you must be crazy. I'm trying to get back on my device, okay? I'm trying to get on my VR, or I'm trying to get on my PlayStation, and and it's just, I just feel like they're being sucked away with technology. And we just got to find some really creative ways where we won't lose our child's mind, because the whole purpose for the technology with them is to literally suck them into a virtual reality where they will grow escapism and rather be in a game than to really function in real life. And so we have to be kind of that voice in the calling out to them, in the wilderness to stay rooted in their human, self, and, help to show them about spirituality and all these things. And it's not really all that fun. It's not that fun for them. They really don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear, instrumental beats for meditation. They don't want to do affirmations. I'm like, no, say you love yourself. And they're just like, why do we have to do this? And I'm like, no, you're going to listen to this, Reverend Ike. And they're just like, Mom, really? Yes. And I just tell them, I'm like, I'm doing this because I care about you so much. I care about what happens to your mind. And I just know what can happen to a young mind that is idle, and one that is just not prepared for life. And it can be really, really hard. And we ultimately just don't want them, to go through what we went through. But it's a challenge. So, but we gotta keep stick with it. And hopefully along the journey, we can join together with other people that are doing it. Because the more of us that come together, the more of an impact we can make with the children. But when we're kind of singular, it's really difficult to create certain positive impacts with the children. So, but we're gonna get there.
And on that note, I definitely look forward to having more expansive discussion in these areas, because they require a lot of time and attention and a lot of detail. And as you see, even within this first hour and 8 minutes we've been on, it's intense to chop this down into certain points or certain segments to speak on, because a lot of it's just uncorking to see where we relate, let alone where we have to hover. But I definitely want to get into more of Eshe, Nhyira. I'm going to show real quick dreamybeads.kism.
Hey.
Bizom.
Yeah.
Hey. Look, we just switching lanes momentarily because we're multidimensional, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of others who definitely felt that segment that we were having and where we were going. Again, there's a lot more to say on that. And I definitely want to, at a later time, even break down some of my comments more and statements and give it more of a fuller context as you do as well. But now we're jumping into dreamybeads.com.
Yes, Dreamy Beads. Yes.
So here we go. All right. Do you see what I see?
I don't. Oh, there we go. I see it. The website. Dreamy Beads.
Yes, Dream. This is Dream. This is your creation.
Yes.
This is your internet baby.
Yes, it is. I created this.
Can you tell us a little bit about why Dreamy Beads and what does that mean to you?
Well, I always called myself Dreamy Pisces. I'm a Pisces, Aries cusp, but Pisces. And the name, came to me like a lot of my creations, and even down to the name, it was spiritually given to me. The name, it actually has changed. It used to be Dreamy Beads by Sharon V, because Sharon V was my, matrix name, if you want to call it a matrix name. And then I evolved and got my spiritual name, which is Eshe Nhyira. So I was like, okay, Dreamy Beads by Eshe. And then I was like, Arts, ARTZ, because it is art. This is my art. This is how I, express myself through, making beautiful creations for, women, men, even for children. I have dabbled in resin. I would love to do more resin art. It's just, that's a process. And, but I will in the future, because I love using that medium. It's really dope. And yeah, right here, so you can see, my bio is on the page. And also I have a t-shirt shop, which is awesome. And, I make t-shirts for, I say, the spiritually awakened, the metaphysical minded people, the spiritual people, the rebels, the people that if you scroll down, it might be a link. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, right. Go up just a little bit more.
Oh, right. The link, right?
Yeah, there
right.
It is. That's the t-shirt shop too.
Okay.
But yeah, we can take a peek at that real quick. So it's called One Metaphysical Mind, the shop. So basically, for the t-shirts is, my motto is live your truth, speak your truth, and wear your truth, because I think it's really important for us to wear expressions of who we are, so that's what that website is all about. It's all types of different clothing and apparel up there, different different messages, like that one. That was one of my first ones that I just balanced, the masculine and the feminine energy. That is where we are the most balanced, when we're able to come together in beautiful union. And you can go up there and pick different sizes, respect your mother. And of course it has Africa up there, but we know that the mother is the whole entire planet, this whole, where we live, that is our mother, who takes care of us and allows us to continue to have our being. And, so I like to give a lot of honor to nature, so it's all types of t-shirts up there. So, feel free to check it out. If you're interested, it's easy to purchase through the website. I even have some chakra glasses that I created. Oh yeah, I like that one too. It's called Metaphysical Mind, with all the different, shapes and patterns and colors. And because as I have evolved into my own metaphysical mind, I realized that everything is a pattern. Pretty much it's a sacred geometry pattern. Everything is numbers. So that's kind of what inspired that t-shirt. We got the Seeking Ma'at, which is seeking inner balance within, and if someone isn't aware of what Ma'at or who Ma'at is, definitely research for yourself, and you will find 42 declarations of Ma'at, and it's different principles that we should live by. And if we are living by, we will definitely have a very balanced life. I am my ancestors t-shirts. I really love those sweatshirts. Good stuff. Yeah, I think it might be okay. It is more. It's a lot more. I'm like, gosh, when I sit up here, I'm like, wow, I really did create a whole lot. Because I've been doing this for a long time. My jewelry business, I started that back in 2014, and that's 2022. Like, I've really been at it for a long time. And people that are creators, it can be a very slow process when you're an entrepreneur. So we've got our Goddess Arise, reconstruct, rebuild, redo everything. That was like one of my mottos. I'm like, we got to throw all of this out and redo it all, like, or do it again, create something new. But as an entrepreneur, you're kind of pecking away at it, and it seems like it's taken a long time to do it. But it's a beautiful thing where you'll wake up one day, maybe, years later, and you'll see all of this wonderful stuff that you have created, and it wasn't done in vain. And so for me, while I was working on all of these different projects, and I was like, nobody's shopping with me. I've got this t-shirt shop, but now I've got a full t-shirt shop. I have a full YouTube channel that goes all the way back, talking about my whole entire spiritual awakening journey. I have this website with all this, jewelry up there. My Instagram is full. Everything is packed and ready to go and open for the marketplace. So I just said that to say, it's okay. Brick by brick, you build your business. You build your craft. You do it from your heart. And I'm telling you, will wake up one day, you're going to see all this stuff that you create, and it's going to blow your own mind. RBG for life, for sure. I'm really proud, really proud of what I've been able to accomplish, especially doing this as, being a mother. I said earlier that this is definitely a very unorthodox path to pull away from. I used to work in corporate America for 9 years as a human resources representative. So, I have totally changed, like, everything. I've gone from sitting behind a desk to actually doing my creativity, being creative, creating my art to share, with people. And it's really beautiful. I want to say it's for everybody, but it might not be for everybody. Because some people may not understand, some of the symbolism that I use, and, due to certain programming, they may even shy away from some of my amulets that I use, and different, symbols and things like that. But it's all coming from a good place, a place of spirit, and a place for and so instead of heavily medicated, I said heavily meditated.
I like that.
Yeah, on that t-shirt. That was pretty cool. I really like that, because that's what we need to be. Meditation will take away the medication.
That's right. You're right.
Ashe to that for the
Ashe all day.
Yes.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Let me get my spray, my sacred sage smudge spray. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit.
I'm telling you, let me rub on my tourmaline. Yes, activation for the nation.
There we go. Look at you.
Chakra glasses. So I just wanted to tell a little bit about the sacral chakra. I have all the chakra glasses up there. I had a beautiful idea that we know that water is programmable. Maybe you don't know, but it is very programmable. We have this beautiful chakra glass with the affirmation on it. You pick the one that you want, and you recite the affirmation into the water, whatever it is that you want to say, your prayers into the water. You activate it with the vibration coming from your mouth and your throat chakra into the water, and then you are drinking those affirmations into your temple, and they will activate from the power of God speaking through you. And I just thought that was such a dope idea.
It is.
With these glasses. Yeah, I really love those a lot.
It's astronomical. It's you on it. Wow, look at that. Everything I can see here is, you're on it with these chakra glasses, and then you throw in, your heavily meditated t-shirt, and then you got your awakened shirt. It's like, ooh-wee.
Yes.
Ooh-wee.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it's about. We have these reminders, when I walk around with my tribe shirt on. And I didn't make this shirt, but I do love it. I got this from another Black-owned business. But when I put this shirt on, I feel good. I feel good because it reminds me of what this is all about. If I put on my t-shirt that says God, I am reminded, yes, indeed,
Most
here
definitely.
in the flesh, I am here. I am an expression of the, the all. Yes. So I
God
appreciate
body.
you sharing, all of my good stuff on the website. I do appreciate that. Yeah, so
Now,
that's just
go
mhm.
ahead.
No,
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say that's just the t-shirt and apparel, but like we had said, had the jewelry on
Ooh
the
wee.
on the website. And we'll be able to show you all some jewelry. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you literally can click on anything. I have everything separated, women, men, as well as unisex. Some jewelry is unisex. So you can take a peek. I deal with a lot of like I said, crystals. I love working with wood, different types of wood beads, copper, gold, silver, bronze, you know, I love it so much. When I make these creations and I look at it, I'm like, wow, it warms my heart. And I say, okay, whose home? Whose home is this jewelry gonna go to? I make beautiful sets. If you don't have any crystals, you might want to contact me, reach out to me, and we can find the perfect crystal set, which would be like a necklace. Like right here, you have a pendant and a beautiful bracelet to match. And it is, we can do this for your zodiac. We can do this for your archetype. We can do crystal collections for something that you're going through. If you feel like, hey, I'm really stressed out, or I'm trying to get over an addiction, or I feel like, someone's out to get me. Like there's a crystal for all of these different ailments, or I need more energy, I need to be more creative, I need more mental clarity. There is a crystal for that. So I really consider myself to be like a crystal pharmacist.
Ooh wee.
I'm a crystal dealer, not a drug dealer, but I'm a crystal dealer.
There you go.
So, definitely reach out, and I would love to create for you. Now, my Instagram, I don't know if the chat will be available. I'm just going to put it in the chat, but I'll also verbally say it.
Okay.
Instagram.com. So it's Dreamy Pisces 80 on Instagram. Now, if you go onto Instagram, you're going to see it's a lot of jewelry that goes way back. I mean, literally for years and years and years. But the beautiful thing about my jewelry, it may say that it's sold, but if you see something that you like, all you have to do is to message me and say, hey, I like that. Even if you saw something on the website and you say that would be really dope in a different color, you contact me, and I do a lot of custom creations. I just people bring me their ideas, and I bring it to life. I bring it into fruition. So I really like that set. That's one of my favorites right there. It's still available. Also on my website, I do split payments. When it's time for you to check out, you have options where you don't have to pay all the money up front. You'll be able to pay off your balance, especially if you have really large balances. You'll be able to pay over time. And can you scroll? Yeah, just so right there, if you can see, it says 4 interest-free payments on the website. And I use Klarna and I use Afterpay. So that's another great option for someone that wants to get some stuff. Maybe they say, hey, I can't pay for it right now, but I really want to go ahead and secure it because somebody else might buy it. That's the way that you can do that, just to make your life a little bit easier. But yeah, it's a lot of great things. Crystal minerals. We got all the jewelry up there, a little bit of resin arts, those are pocket stones where you can get like a little satchel bag, which will come with your purchase if you were to get pocket stones. And a lot of people like to stick that into their purse or keep it in their pocket when they go out and about. Men do this as well. Men carry crystals around with them. Some people put crystals underneath their pillow. Some people put their crystals on their bedside table. Crystals are going to emit positive energy in different ways. Different shaped crystals will emit, the energy. Of course, yes, we've got all kinds of stones up there. Citrine, tiger's eye, black tourmaline. Our black stones, of course, are our protector stones. The black is going to protect and repel us against the different types of radiation. And some people feel like they have like a spirit of the evil eye on them and things like that. So that's going to just help with a lot of grounding. It's very dope here. Selenite wands, they're very nice. Selenite wands don't have to be cleansed or purified at all, because they are just like this. They're constantly being activated. If you get you some selenite, you actually can place your other crystals on the selenite and it will cleanse your other crystals. The wands, it actually says that they're all sold out right now, but I will be replenishing my shop with some. But if you are interested in one, you can reach out to me. But I like to use a selenite wand as a cleanser, and I take it and go over my body when I'm doing my meditation to cleanse myself, just as I would with sage or Palo Santo or incense. You can do that with the crystal wand. And when we're working with crystals, I always say that it's good to talk to your crystals and give your crystals permission to work in your life. Let them know that you want to accept their healing properties, and you express to them that you want it to work into your life, and you connect with them, you hold them, and then you wear them. And you will see, especially if you're mentally open to the process of these healing modalities working in your life, they will work in your life. But if you're not, if you're like, oh, this is just a rock, this is a pretty rock, you have that type of ideal, I don't really know, if it's going to work for you. But yeah, that's a beautiful set. That's citrine. Oh, I love that so much. And citrine is all about abundance. Like if you're trying to get some more abundance in your life, especially when it comes to like currency, it's good to keep you some citrine around, because it's going to help you to manifest the things that you like. That's one of my favorite stones. Very, very beautiful. But
most definite.
Yeah. Be open, be open to the process, even though it might seem a little weird. It is kind of weird in a way, because we're doing something different. That's fluorite, beautiful fluorite. Fluorite, due to its green color, that's going to be for your heart chakra, to open that heart up. It's also good for abundance as well. A lot of the colors, so if we know that money is green, we can make that connection to say most of the green stones are going to have to deal with abundance. It also has like a calming energy. If you've ever been to a spa before, you're going to see a lot of this type of color and like the light blues, because it gives off a very calming energy to the spirit and to the soul. And that set is beautiful, and it is available for purchase. Oh, yes. Lots of good stuff. If you, like I said, if you go to my Instagram, which is instagram.com, Dreamy Pisces 80, you see something that you like, just send me a message and we'll, get it popping. I've sold most of that's like a resin necklace that I made with real flowers in it. It's got real flowers. But I have done pyramids. I really want to get back into the pyramids. I really love doing those. I just, haven't been doing that recently, but I do plan to in the future and do some other resin art. It is definitely a beautiful, beautiful modality. Definitely want to give a huge shout out to all of my customers. If you're watching, I do appreciate you. I have faithful customers. They are so good. I love my people because they keep coming back. They come back and keep shopping with me, and I just appreciate them so much. And I look forward to, all of the new brothers and sisters that I'll be able to create for. This is definitely a labor of love because I love doing this and I love providing beautiful adornment. We definitely need to wear things that make us, that uplift our spirits. And what better way, to do that than to wear crystals. So beautiful. Yeah, that is a green cat's eye. It reflects. It's beautiful beads. It reflects, in the light and in the sun. Of course, it has the Buddha. They're the Buddha of peace. We have to find our own inner Buddha. I know we look to Buddha for different quotes and everything, but we have our own inner, Buddha in our own heart. And we've got the blue sodalite, the blue stones, blue sodalite. That's going to be for the throat chakra, so that we can say what needs to be said. It's very important for us to say what needs to be said, and accompanied by the third eye charm, because we are awakened. We are awakened. And it has some clear quartz in that bracelet as well.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Yes.
Wow.
Sure.
I mean, Eshe, this has been a one-stop spiritual evolution clothing crystal shop. And I know I still owe you because I put a credit, I want to say a spiritual credit donation in the air, but I got to turn it into a monetary physical. So I know I still owe you. And I definitely want to bless the shop. And I definitely want others to bless the shop as well, because you definitely deserve it. You put the work in. You're teaching, you're sharing, you're learning, you're evolving, you're healing, and you're authentic. And it doesn't get no better than that when it comes to just speaking from the evolutionary part of the heart and the soul. And we admit when we're wrong, we admit when we're right, we keep it balanced, we evolve, and we love. And, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be what is right. And, that, whether people argue it, debate it, turn away from it, deflect it, hide it, act like they don't see it. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. We all can feel that.
That's it.
We all can feel it. Wow. So we are let me do a quick time check, and we are now an hour 32 in. I have anything else you want to say about dreamybeads.com? Anywhere else you want us to go on the site? Anything else you want to show?
Well, yeah, just go there, see what you like, browse, take your time, enjoy yourself as you browse. Visit my Instagram, because there's some things on Instagram that might not be on the website. Send me a follow. I definitely will follow you back, correspond with me. I can guarantee you it's going to be a beautiful customer experience, from the time that you first connect with me to when you actually receive your special package in the mail. I put a lot of care and effort into everything that I do with these creations. So, I look forward to creating for you, and your family. Just reach out to me. Feel free to do so. And I definitely look forward to sharing, my heart and my art with you, for sure.
Well, we are approaching the end. There's something else I want to show up here, which is, I didn't want to forget this. Okay, let me make sure I have this correct. Why is it not showing? Let me see. Do you see it? No, you still see your website, huh?
Yes.
Let me switch to, okay. How about right now? Do you see? Okay, this is what I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to share again real quick. Okay. Let me go to share screen, go back to the Chrome tab, and go. There we go.
Hey, yes, you brought that up. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Eshe Speaks. You see, we got your IG at the bottom here. I'm going to
Look
switch
at
to your.
that.
It's been
That's
running
so
for.
awesome.
So,
Yes.
if you have a few more minutes, can you tell us about Eshe Speaks? What is that about? And I'm looking forward to being a guest on Eshe Speaks. I'm looking forward to be. I had to mess
That's what's up. I appreciate that, Surreal. Yeah.
all day.
So Eshe Speaks is a podcast. I also have a podcast, where I share some great information, and it's all coming from the heart. It's coming from the spirit. I also have some meditations up there. I have, a meditation up there for the brothers because, brothers need some help. They need some.
Holy Spirit, activate.
They do. Y'all need some help. Y'all need to relax a lot because you have so much pressures on you. So if you're a brother and you go and, find my podcast, and I'll put that in the chat. It's anchor.fm /Eshe Speaks. Oh, okay. You got it up there already. Yeah. But go check it out because there is a meditation up there for brothers. I think you would definitely like it a lot. But it's a lot of motivational messages. I have a couple of podcasts that I've done with my sister, Chantel Tells Truth. Up there. Yeah, Chantilly in the house.
Shout out Chantilly.
She's in the UK.
K65.
Yeah,
Staying
she's
alive.
Doing her thing. But yes, a lot of good stuff up there. Some messages where I feel that you'll be inspired. You'll want to definitely be your better self. It's some deep stuff up there where you got we did a talk about depression.
My name's Chantal, and it's just a little bit about me. I'm spiritually awakened on this journey, helping people just free their minds.
Go ahead, sis. I just want to. You
invoke
Chantel's spirit all day.
Oh yeah. I have a chapter. I'm working on a book too. I'm working on a book because I have up there. It says one of 11 lessons of what I wish I knew when I was a teenager. I'm going to release them. I'm still working on that. But that is something else that I'm working on to put out there because I feel like it's really important for me to share my life experiences that I had growing up and the lessons that, man, I wish I had known this stuff. Like if I had known what I know now back then, so I'm like, okay, my time is over. I will not be a teenager again. So I want to share that wisdom with young girls so that they hopefully won't fall into the same pitfalls that I fell into. And, just teaching them some things, not getting too deep into the spiritual awakening, but just kind of doing like an introduction to open them up, just to let them know that they are so much more than their bodies. They are so much more, just kind of giving them a little peek behind the veil. But yes, we got Love is the Cure, motivation and affirmations. A lot of times when melanated men meditation, that's definitely, you all tap into that. But some of these I record these when I'm out at the park walking.
Greetings, brothers and sisters.
Yes.
This is Eshe. I am out taking a walk in the beautiful forest, sun shining. Eshe, birds are chirping. Yes, thank you. The insects are here. The air is here. The wind is blowing. There's a slight chill in the air. Absolutely beautiful. My temple is moving freely. No stress, no tension. And I am moving forward. When I come out to the park, I have message that come to me, and I want to share it with you. The importance on our journey to uplift the planet is to share. A lot of times we hold messages because of many different reasons. I can share why I have held on to messages that have came to me that I know I should share. It's a lot to do with old programming. It has a lot to do with thinking about what other people think or thinking about what other people will say, like, oh, I know her past. I know what she used to do.
Mm.
I know what her life looks like right now. You know, everything in my life isn't in order the way that I want it to be. But I found that there had to be an inner house cleaning that had to be done first. There had to be a heart and a mind cleaning, a deep cleaning, a detox that had to take place, a body detox that had to take place by eating better and drinking better. Not about being perfect. Scratch that. Take that out there. It's about doing the best and being the best that you can be. Giving it the best try that you can. Sometimes I've heard people say, don't say try. You have to affirm that I am, that I will, that I am, that I will, that I can, that I will. And I do that too. But I'm telling you, trying, giving it a good push is better than just thinking about it, sitting there thinking about it, saying, hey, I am not gonna share this message from my heart because I'm embarrassed, because I'm worried about what my parents might think, or my friends from high school might think, or my children might think, or any of that type. That narrative has to go. It has to go. The reason being, my wonderful master teacher shared something that will stay with me for the rest of my life. He says, you cannot shrink into greatness. We like to shrink. We like to dim our light because we worried about other people. We worry about other people that aren't doing what we are. We worry about people rolling their eyes and smacking their teeth and laughing or whatever. Foolishness. Foolishness. Let it go. Let it go. We all want to change. We all want to evolve so bad. But it's so difficult for us to do that when we are attached to the past. We're attached to this old being that's not even the real you. That old being was not even the real me. That was the lost me. That was the lost me. That was the low self-esteem, insecure me. So how dare I allow that old being, those old thoughts, those old ways of being stop me from my purpose journey that's happening right now, which is changing, which is evolving, which is healing, which is forgiving, which is releasing, which is love. Oh, love. Love has always been in my heart. Since I was born into this world, I've always been a loving person. And the world, well, not even the world loves me, but the energies, the systematic oppression, the bitterness that's in others, the insecurities that are within others have done everything in its power, their power to dim my light. And I allowed it because I didn't know who I was. So now that I'm evolving into this new being, I have evolved from a being called Sharon, the Rose of Sharon, the Lily of the Valley, to Eshe, Nhyira, which is a blessing, which means life, which means evolution, which means power, means love, which means giving and healing and peace. We have to evolve. We can't stay that old way. People want you to stay the way that you used to be. We can't stay there. We can't stay there.
That's right.
Imagine that the entire planet and nature is waiting on us to take our rightful place. So how dare I want to stand in the shadows when there is so much love that needs to be given? There is so much positivity and power that needs to be given to this world right now, not next year. Oh, when everything gets right. Oh, when I'm in a better place. Oh, when I get my house. Oh, when I get my car. Then I will be able to come out from the shadows and share the word of peace and love. No, do it now. Do it where you are. Do it now. If you're even in a state of poverty, do it now, because I know that the more that we open up this heart chakra and all of getting ourselves in alignment and aligning our chakras, I know that is the key to opening up ourselves. The vortex of energy is forever flowing and moving. Now, I know a lot of you cannot see the vortex of energy. It has been revealed to me. Yes, it is true. There is invisible particles moving constantly, folding in and out of itself like a vortex of energy that is moving constantly. And I stand on the sideline looking for it, and they're like,
man, I mean, I wanted to play the whole thing, and I'm gonna go back and finish it. Eshe, I mean, I gotta applaud you. That was, as always, evolutionary and expansive, and I mean, you were on it.
Give thanks. I appreciate that.
Not to take up too much more of your time, because we're approaching almost an hour and 50 minutes.
Yes.
You've been more than a gracious guest. I definitely look forward to having you back. And everybody outside of the, how can I say this? Outside of the planet, outside of our galaxy, and some say even outside of the universe. I had to get hip to the women. There's another universe and another universe. I mean, wait a minute. How do you even? My thing is, how do you? This is my thing. Well, if you know that, then what else are you withholding? If you can tell me there's another universe outside of our universe. Any comment, anything you want to say in closing, Eshe?
Wow.
Right.
Man, all I can tell you is, this whole spiritual awakening and unraveling and releasing, and it's a journey. It's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. But the biggest takeaway that I've learned is to learn how to be mindful of my own mind, learn how to know what is illusion and what is real, because a lot of those illusions look really real. They feel real, but in essence it's still an illusion. So if we can work on that, work on silencing that lower self, I think we will do just fine. Take your time in the process. We're going to take our time as we're building these beautiful blended families. We have to continue to lift each other up and continue to love each other. But ultimately, it always goes back to the self. Love thyself, nurture thyself, encourage thyself. And then we really can help, to share that information, that love and that positive energy with other beings outside of ourselves. But really, our number one duty and job in this awakening is to continually work on ourselves every single day, and know that everything that you're doing that is good and that is positive, it is making a difference. And don't look at yourself like, oh, little old me, because I used to do that. I used to be like, what can I do to make a change? But my mind has opened up so much, and now I do realize that me healing myself is healing my atmosphere, because we are all energy. We are energetic beings. So seek inner peace and hold on to your peace. The only way that we let go of our peace is if we literally relinquish it and let it go, so we can hold on to our inner peace as we're on this journey. And seek holistic relationships, but have a holistic relationship with yourself, and create. Just keep creating and building. Yes. Do it in love, do it in peace and power and truth. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. On that note, I am your brother Surrealism, a prism of realism. This is Surreal Stream TV, episode 2. Eshe, Nhyira, we in the building. I'm gonna play a song to close us out. If you want to leave, you can. Anybody out there, if you want to go, you can. If not, here's a song to reflect on. And let me get that going real quick, and we will be out of here, but back again.
Peace.
Peace.
Would you take a bullet? Would you buy the gun? I fall onto my knees and yes, the war's already won. So please don't take me for no fool. Spend a lifetime in your shoes. Now I'm walking, yes I'm walking through the fire. I'll keep burning on. Well, I'll hold myself together when it all goes wrong. The fires, they keep burning on. Well, I'll hold myself together when it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong, I'll take my time, I'll keep on holding on. When it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong, when it all goes wrong, I'll pull myself together, keep on holding on. Gloves off, we're finished. You by the hand I feel. I'll nurse your battle scars, but you leave my heart to bleed. So please don't take me for no fool. Spend a lifetime in your shoes. Now I'm walking, yes I'm walking through the fire. I'll keep burning on. Well, I'll hold myself together when it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong, I'll hold myself together, keep on holding on. When it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong. When it all goes wrong, I'll pull myself together, keep on holding on. But as I try to tame my flame, you keep playing the same old games. But remember, nights we burn right till the sun sets, till the sun sets. Through dark nights we burn right till the sun sets, till the sun sets. Through dark nights we burn right till the sun sets. When it all goes wrong, when it all goes wrong, when it all goes wrong, I'll hold myself together, keep on holding on. When it all goes wrong, when it all goes wrong, when it all goes wrong, I'll pull myself together, keep on holding on.
You can hear me?
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear what you just said.
Hey, I said see you next time. Thank you again. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I'm about to hit the stop watch for the moment, and we out.
Okay, peace and love. Thank you.